self-forgiveness. Hey again, Gosha, sociologist and psychotherapist. I want to talk about self-forgiveness because we've been chatting about forgiving others for what they have done to us or what we thought we suffer from their hand. Although probably you know already, I'm not an advocate of seeing oneself as a victim. We always have something to say. Of course, it's hard to see it in the moment when it happens, but whether you will call it cause and effect or our self-responsibility, depending on the case, I believe that we have always something to say. But coming back to self-forgiveness, there is something that we feel somebody that hurt us done to us, but there is also the other part that we allow it to happen, whether it is rational or irrational. Irrational, it would be like if we were in a vulnerable state, or if we were a child and something was done to us, and rationally we had nothing to defend ourselves with, so we were kind of on the mercy of that person. So it's how we could, resent ourselves from not defending. But often I noticed in people that suffered the trauma in a vulnerable states, they still feel they didn't do something to protect themselves. So they carry certain type of resentment, not only for the perpetrator, but also for themselves, that they didn't protect themselves. So that's either this, we always carry some kind of residue of what we did not do, or often also what we have done. So we kind of, yes, we agreed on that relationship, or we agreed on somebody treating us in a certain way. Why? Because we didn't protest, because we didn't left the relationship or the situation. So whether I don't know if it is very obvious at first when you think about your hurts, that there is something to forgive yourself as well as to forgive to somebody else. But if you allow yourself to think about it deeper, to start feeling what type of feelings are behind that hurt, you most likely will discover that there is also something like a guilt or a shame, or even anger on yourself, possibly, that is there because you suffered from some kind of traumatic experience, or just hurt. So what to do in that case? I know that that's part of the process of forgiveness, to forgive other, but also to forgive myself, because if only one happens, the process of forgiveness is not complete, or it's not as successful. So I was mentioning before that the forgiveness is a process. It takes time, and it takes many stages, and it is fine. And you might at some point forgive, but you might never forget, and it's also okay. But it is also about wanting to forgive yourself. So how can you do that? You can think of yourself as a person you would like to refer to, like writing a letter to you from the time you suffered a certain hurt, and then you might say, like, I understand you've been through that. You were at that point either misinformed or disempowered. You didn't believe that you can defend, or that you can choose otherwise. And I know that I cannot blame you from then, but right now I'm a little bit wiser. I'm wiser with this experience. I'm wiser with the time of healing, maybe with this process of forgiveness. and I see you were also like me from the past. You were also hurt, or maybe you were actually lacking self-esteem at that point, or you were lacking understanding that relationship is not good for you, or you were really looking for love so desperately that you were even willing to sacrifice part of yourself, go on a trade-off relationship-wise that was simply not beneficial to you at all. But you were just so lacking love that you were just throwing yourself into that. And yes, I understand it, and I forgive you as well for that, because partly you allowed that abuse to happen. And so you see what I mean? It is you can do it in the form of a letter, in the form of even acting out. Some people also on my therapy sessions, I instigate for my clients sometimes a scene, like a small dramas. So we set up actors and they perform their roles from the past as if it happened in that certain way. And the same, sometimes I do the same for like chatting with my old self. So we set up two chairs and we conduct a conversation from how it was in the past or how it is right now, talking to that person that mindlessly went into the abuse or addiction or simply hurtful relationship. So it can happen like that. So through either intellectual conversation with yourself, or heartfelt talk, or acting out a play. I did this, and then I'm just repeating. I'm actually not repeating the mistake. I'm doing something else, or I'm chatting with myself from the past, and I say, yes, I understand you've done that. I forgive you. Now let's do something different. Some people also even write a letter without a stamp and put it into the box, the post box, addressed to themselves, but without a stamp, it won't go anywhere. It's just like symbolically, I'm leaving it in the past, and I'm just leaving. I don't need to have it returned. Now I'm free. Some people like also literally jump to have it released bodily. So I'm sending intention, now I'm releasing this and that, and I'm jumping like crazy, or go on some kind of experience that releases adrenaline or dopamine, and in that way symbolically jumping, releasing some kind of emotions in the form of movement. I'm leaving that in the past. So you may also invent any type of ritual for yourself if it is something you like. Just sending intention, this is marking my old me and new me, and I'm forgiving myself. I'm living in the past, and now I'm forming my new empowered self, who will not make the same mistakes. And that's why I really will stress it again. It is so transformative to make yourself also a person worth forgiving. And so you forgiving yourself for things that happened to you, that you perceived like they were done to you, that's also a great opportunity to take responsibility for that. Intentionally or unintentionally, I allowed it. And now I'm also forgiving myself for that mistake, because mistake is often caused by misinformation. And now I'm moving on. So the person that done something to me, now I have an intention to forgive. I forgive myself to contribute to that situation, and now we are all free. The quality of life on the other side is incomparably much more satisfying, and I wish that to you as well.